everyone so hard, and I was so stressed about it myself. And I realized there were two things, at least two things. One is I felt like the consequences were very severe, right? I feel like, I look outside and I see, unemployment. I hear about, organizations closing, and so I see that there's a big challenge out there. And I also was feeling very keen to have us deliver to the timeline of getting things out by the board meeting. So then I started thinking about, sorry, I was just looking at the chat and seeing that I apparently wasn't visible earlier, but I am now, so I'm happy to see all of you. As I was thinking through this example and thinking through what was going on, I realized that the consequences are severe, but we actually had found enough solutions through the other work that we had that we were going to be fine. And that we didn't need to have the timeline be for exactly the board meeting. We could actually extend the timeline because of the fact that we had enough space. And then it also made me, remember that our ultimate goal as an organization is we're working to help make the world more kind and compassionate. And it is a little ironic that I was causing so much stress in our own organization. We focus on cultivating and measuring well-being. So it is a little bit ironic, and I realize that actually is my overarching priority. And so that is something that I need to remind myself to focus on, and before I enter each meeting, I should make sure to remind myself of that. It seems very basic, but I managed to forget. So I want us to spend some time in practice to explore that and try to make sure that we can find ways to remind ourselves. So let's start the practice. I'd encourage you to find a way to sit that is comfortable, allows you to be alert but relaxed. Sitting upright in a chair is good, or if you're lying down in a way that is comfortable for the body. You can close your eyes if you prefer. If you'd like to keep them open, I'd suggest averting your gaze down with a soft gaze. And let's take several deep breaths just to settle into this position. Resuming normal breathing, I didn't ask you to explore what in your life right now may be contributing or helping cause stress in your life that may contribute to either a current sense of overwhelm or a future potential one because of the stress. Just consider what is causing stress in your life right now. And if at any time, if it's too stressful, I would encourage you to maybe not focus on it as much, but I want to just do a quick survey and understand what is potentially causing stress right now. Now that you've been thinking a little bit about the things that cause stress in your life, I'd like you to consider, why are these items causing stress for you? What is it about these issues that cause stress? Is it the consequences? Is it the timeline? Is it the amount of work required? What is it that is creating a sense of stress? And as we've been exploring what causes, or the causes for the stress, and why it's causing stress, can you notice your emotional reactions? What do you notice about the emotional reactions you have as you consider these topics? Now I'd like to ask you to consider, is there something that can shift for you? As you are thinking about these topics, is there something that can shift? We've been exploring things that cause stress in our life and things and why they cause stress. We were questioning, is it the consequences? Is it the timeline? Is it the amount of work? Can we shift some of these things? For example, can the timeline be shifted? Can the work be adjusted? Let's consider what can shift. And after exploring the shift and what can shift, do you notice any shift in your emotions? Any shift in your emotional response as you think about these issues? Now I'd like us to move on to explore what's most important to us. So let's move on from the exploration around these stressors that may be causing or could cause overwhelm. And let's let those go. Let's reset using several deep breaths. Take several deep breaths. Resuming normal breathing. You're still feeling the residual of exploring stress. Another way to potentially let it go is to allow your muscles to tighten and then relax. And then take several more deep breaths. Resuming normal breathing. I'd like you to consider what is most important to you right now. What is most important to you in your life right now? I'd like to ask you, having considered what is most important to you right now, how can you support that? What can you do that supports what is most important to you right now? I want to ask you to see, can you notice your emotional response to thinking about what is most important to you right now and how you can support it? I'd also like to ask you to consider, how can you remind yourself to stay focused in supporting what is most important to you? What can you do to remind yourself, either in situations or when you're starting to feel things pulling you away from that? What can you do to remind yourself of what is most important? Now I'd encourage you to set an intention to do these reminders. Whatever frequency you had thought of, at the start of each day, or before certain actions, or at the end of things, or whatever you have determined would be best to be a reminder for you, I'd ask you and encourage you to set the intention, to give yourself the reminders, to focus on what is most important to you. Now I'd like to close this meditation. Feel free to open your eyes if you had them closed. We'll bring our attention back to the screen. Just wanted to thank you for participating and joining as we explored how to cope with feeling overwhelmed. And I wanted to mention, if you'd like to explore more with us, we have, as mentioned, every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we are holding these meditations during the time of the pandemic. Mondays are in Spanish, and Tuesdays and Thursdays are in English. We also have resources and information on our website, which is linked in the chat, as well as an app if you'd like to have more of these practices set up in a sequential manner. It's the Healthy Minds Program app that is on the Play Store and the Apple Store. So it is a pleasure to be able to spend this time with you. And I see we are at our close. And yes, thank you. Thank you for joining. And we will continue to hold these as we explore how do we work with different aspects of awareness, connection, insight, and purpose to support our mental well-being through the pandemic.